Greetings from Bulgaria. I'm Dante Thompson for Greenville.
And I'm Betty Cornett, right here with Dante Thompson. And I want to give a real big shout out to all of our friends on WATC TV 57 in Atlanta.
That's right. And we are actually in Dobrich, Bulgaria.
And northeastern area.
And we're here in your apartment, and your church is just right next door.
Yes.
And this city is a lot bigger than the village we've been in.
Oh, lots bigger.
A lot bigger. This reminds me more of Kishno, or they're in Moldova that I've been to before. About 100,000 or so in this city.
Yes.
Something like that.
And one of the model cities. This was built when the Russians were building so much here during communist years, and from what I've been told, it was a red city, which nobody ever told us that, which meant it was very heavily communist oriented, and then after that, the city became a model for them to bring the aristocrats from the Soviet Union over, and so you notice how beautiful it is. The plazas, and no cars are allowed in the inside of the city.
I think part of that is due to the mayor being a woman.
Well, now she's only been a mayor for 8 years though. Now she didn't have anything to do with those plazas being built.
Okay, all right.
But anyway, it is absolutely a beautiful city.
And y'all got to sit down with the mayor a couple of weeks ago.
Yes, just a week ago actually, and she gave us a lot of insight, Dante, on what the needs are and what they are trying to do here with the children, and that's what we are concentrating and focusing on. What are the needs and how best can we help here at this point in time?
I know we were talking with some children yesterday, and they said there's no place to get away from any of it. You can't go to the police if you don't have good parents. There's nowhere to go, or if you don't have good friends with good parents, because a lot of the parents are the problem here.
Yes, that's right. The abuse is, of course, coming out of the homes, and then the poverty adds to that.
Yeah.
See, in fact, the poverty brings on the abuse, and it all just comes together and makes it for a bad situation. But there are no jobs here. 50% of the people in Dobrich don't have jobs, and it's just seasonal work, working at the resorts and restaurants and things like that. So that's why the sex trafficking and the sex tourism is blossoming and growing so much, because of the fact that those kids are out there. Young kids are being, you heard the woman say.
Well, even today, I was taking a picture of a street sign, and a lady came up to us, and she, that was uncomfortable.
She needed money, and whichever way she could get it.
For it. And of course, we saw the regulars on the side of the road today, out there working.
It's so sad. I mean, my heart just aches when I go by and see these girls on the side of the road that are selling themselves every day. It's a horrible, horrible picture to see, and knowing that some of them have children and they need their mothers, at home. But we've got to realize, Dante, that we have got to bring hope to this situation.
And we've been doing that. Another week of camp ended, and this week we had 45 salvations.
46
salvations.
And 13 baptized in water. And here the tradition is, after they are baptized, they take communion. So we do that every time. I think we're getting close to 200 now so far in the camps this summer that have been saved. And that I praise God for that and give Him all the glory. Because we're doing the Bible lessons, we're doing the awareness program there at the youth camp, and so we are trying our best to get these kids educated to the fact that they can make wise decisions. They can really make choices in life that they need to.
But at a young age, they can make these choices to avoid it, but some things are unavoidable. But that's what we were talking to these children about. No place for them to go. They can't go to the police. There's not a shelter they can go to. There's nothing here. And so we went to your properties that we're looking at, making a safe place for these children.
Right, and like I said today, we're having to take baby steps because we've just got to have wisdom. We can't jump into something that we don't know that God is going to give us favor and walk right before us.
And the awareness would be step one, because a lot of these children are uneducated and they think it's normal.
Right. But yet their childhood is being robbed from them.
Oh, yeah.
They won't have a
13 years old. We
childhood.
talked to a girl 13 years old, and her best friend was 13 years old, started in prostitution.
Oh, and it's nothing here for it to be 8 and 9 years old, and that problem is so horrible to think about. But then when we think about that, there is a chance, 50% chance that that problem can be erased if we educate them, and that's what we've been doing. We started last summer in the youth camps, and the youth camps are an integral part.
It's not just in the youth camp. Before the camp, y'all actually went out in June, the whole month of June, and educated villages.
And we went all through the villages through the winter, and then in June this year, we went to 5 strategic places in Bulgaria. And now we'll have facilitators in all of those areas that will go out from that area. And finally, we will get to this whole country. And that's our goal, is to educate every possible child that we can. And Dante, that mayor really helped us to know that we were going to be able to start going to the public schools.
Right.
Because our teacher is a 30-year veteran.
Exactly.
Of working in public schools, so she has been invited to come and do the program in the public schools, so that's going to be wonderful. Never been done before, so we're excited about the doors that are being opened for us here. And that, like you say, that's phase 1 is the awareness program, and then phase 2, the mayor told us that there's such a great need to have centers in these areas at the at-risk children. And we've got 3 focal areas that you have already seen some of the children from those 3 areas that are in our region. And they are the poorest of the poor, and they are the most abused and the most at-risk children. So we want to get the centers started at those areas. We want to do a food distribution, because if we can help to keep them from really going to bed hungry. Most of the people are not being fed. These children love youth camp because they get 3 meals a day, but they don't even get that at home. So,
well, I know when they were doing the baptism the other day, a little boy took his robe off, and you could see every rib he had, and it wasn't that he was skinny; he was just malnourished.
Yeah,
it was pitiful.
Yeah.
And then there's a little boy about 4 years old, probably, and I call it a donut. I don't know what it was. It tasted like a Krispy Kreme chocolate donut to me, but it was about that big. Of course, he was about that big. They shoved the whole thing down.
It's amazing the food that they can eat, and I can't even eat all what we serve. We serve a sandwich that, yesterday you saw that how big that sandwich was, and the bread is not like loaf bread. I mean, it's bigger than a hamburger, but much bigger, and it's homemade too, homemade bun. And I tell you, those little kids can eat the whole thing, and I can barely eat half of one. But they're starving. They're literally starving. So the food bank will be at the center. There will be life skills. There will be education, hygiene lessons, cooking lessons, and computer, everything that will help these children to feel good about themselves. And at this early age of 8 and 9, when they're just being shoved out the door and kicked and abused in every situation and pushed out to do sex trafficking, then it's time for us to step in and not be blind to this, what's happening, Dante. And we can do it. We can make a difference. And from these centers, then, we will be in touch with the children that most need to get out of their situation. And then we'll pull those children on into the houses. And by that time, we will have built the trust among the parents. And some of the parents know, like the one I've already told you, this boy that is here in Dobrich, that we need to get him out, but we can't do it yet. But when we get to that point, we will. And he's being abused by a man right there in the block of flats. And then there's another little girl that they can't afford to give her the medicines that she needs, that you heard her story this week. So all of these children, I've got them in my mind, and that I can't let them go. And I know that little by little, and with the help of the people, Dante, we can really make a difference in this problem here. Bulgaria is supplying about 80% of the child.
Yeah, and there's more organizations getting involved in it, and you can go to your website, hrbg.org.
Yes, hrbg.org. That's the new project that's for Hope Restored Bulgaria.
And then Cornett Ministries.
Cornett Ministries. Actually, Cornett Ministries has been around 50 years, you know. But HRBG is actually Tina Lissy, my daughter.
Right.
She's the founder, and she's passionate about this project. And she's here right now, too. And she's right involved with everything that's going on about that. So,
of course, when I get back, we're going to put everything together and show the people as well. But if you can't wait, and of course, when I had you on a couple of weeks ago, when I Skyped you at my office, you've had phenomenal response from that.
Yes, I thank God for that. And I'm not home, but they're getting the mail there, and the mail's coming in asking about what we're doing. And we need to mention about the orphanages, Dante. Next week will be our last week for the street children and the poor children. But then the next week we start with the orphanages, and we serve 3 orphanages. The first one, it has the older children, like, well, they're from about 8 years old on till 17, 18. And then there is the special needs orphanage. Now those little kids, they've got a calendar in the orphanage home.
And you were telling me
and they X out.
The majority of them were special needs because of Chernobyl. Chernobyl is
Yes, at Chernobyl.
25 years ago.
Yeah, in 86. And that still continues on down this line, you know, the generations. But yes, those children are so precious. And so we're always excited to have them come. Then the next week will be the little tots from 3 years old to 6 years old. You would love to be that.
That's what I wish I could be for.
I know. Well, next time. Next time you come for the orphanages.
Yeah.
And we've been serving these 3 orphanages for 15 years. And we supply sheets. We make sheets for them every year. We bring in towels. We bring in shoes. We bring in pajamas for them and underwear. And then the special needs orphanage, we supply the milk and the food that the government will not supply for these children. They say they don't have the money. So we're doing what we can do, Dante.
That's right.
And if we have the funds, we can reach out and do more.
Yes. But well, I'll let y'all go. But I'll be back this week. And Betty, when will you be back in Atlanta?
In September.
You got a couple more months. Then you'll be back in December. All right? For Christmas. But goodbye for now from Dobrich, Bulgaria.